and the people who teach us, and just actually take a good look at it and see if it can stand up to the test, in that Klinefelters can change the skeletal structure of a male to a female. So for example, the male hip joints are above his crotch, right? The female hip joints are below the crotch. So if someone is suffering under Klinefelters, or maybe somebody is taking hormones, we're going to put that to the test as well, just to show you. Because some people say that people taking hormones at a very early age can change the hip joints. So we're going to put that to the test and see if someone on Klinefelter's disease or taking hormones, a female always has an arch in her back. So you have a female to my left, and as you can see, she has an arch in the back. The arch starts just below the shoulder blades and starts dipping. Before it gets into the navel, it turns into the pelvis. The reason for the arch in the back is because, one, a woman is going to carry children, and so that's extra support for the weight of carrying children. Secondly, a woman's spine is very, very flexible. It's and all that is because of childbirth. And thirdly, her pelvis is tilted forward, so the arch in the spine has to accommodate all of that. So there's always going to be a C-shaped arch in a woman's spine, or an S-shaped arch in the spine, depending on where you draw it from. Now, males don't have an arch in their spines, all right, or arch in their back, as the case may be. Males have straight backs. If a man's back wants to arch, he's going to arch outside, and it's going to be shaped like a D or a P. If a man tries, a woman's back is always going to arch more than that of a male, because her spine is much more flexible. If a woman arches her back outwards, it's going to arch much more that it looks like a humpback. If a female arches it inwards, it's going to arch much more that it looks like you'll see this deep C-shaped arch in her back. Now, it doesn't matter if the woman has muscles or not. She's taking any form of, supplements or testosterone or anything else, or as the case might be, she's always going to have an arch in her back, except she's had some sort of accident, all right, which maybe makes her vertebrae to be a little bit malformed. It doesn't matter what size the woman is. Like I'm showing you right here, there is a big female to my left. As you can see, there's an arch in the back, and her pelvis is still tilted forward. A small female to my right, arch in the back, and her pelvis is still tilted forward. A muscular female, right here, this woman is lifting a lot of muscles, and probably she's on...
You're taller than I expected you to be. You're a very tall woman.
Yes.
How tall?
5'12" without my shoes, but 6'4" with my shoes.
Wow. Okay, I like pumps, and I just wanted to see what kind of shoes you were wearing. At what point in your life did you realize that there was something different about what you felt inside?
I think it's sort of early as on, sort of 4 and 5, actually, because I sort of didn't fit in, and my brother was sort of playing all the masculine games, and I wanted to sort of do all my sister's sort of games and things, so I felt sort of, what's wrong with me? And my dad was a very heterosexual man, and he was sort of pushing me into all the male things, but I just it didn't feel right.
Yeah. Did you ever have sex when you were a man?
So I paused the video right here there because I don't think it was a discussion that is necessary on this particular video, because you can see how the Vatican tries to play mind games with people, trying to soften your stance so that you can accept things that you normally wouldn't accept, by asking those kind of methodical questions like Arsenio Hall just asked this dude. If I don't even want to talk about it, but you guys get the picture because I paused it right there and there. So I just wanted to show you that the Vatican has been hard at work, because what they do is gradual. They make people to gradually accept evil as the norm. All right, they started off by showing you that, okay, this person is a transgender. Then right now they're falling off the deep edge by not even, because now they've worked on people's minds to accept it, such that they don't think they have to tell you the truth or even try to insinuate that this person is a transgender, as the case might be in so many of the transgenders that are out there today. So I wanted you guys just to notice that, and then let's move on. Okay, so what's on the screen right now is a female bodybuilder. So I'm trying to dispel the fake signs that hormonal change can change, or sorry, that hormonal drugs, all right, that transgenders take can change the skeletal structure if, for example, the person takes the drugs before puberty, all right? And like I said before, no matter the drugs you take, sorry to say, it's not going to change the hip position of a female to that of a male, or vice versa. It's never going to change. And so what the Vatican or so many other YouTube channels try to put out there to confuse you, which are all Vatican owned, is that depending on the drugs before puberty, that the person can change into a different sex. What drugs do? What drugs do change only the muscle and the skin. That's what hormonal drugs do. They change the muscle and the skin. They can't change the bones. They can't change the skeletal structure, because you have to understand this. If you're building a house, okay? Let's take, for example, you're building a house. If you build a house, you first of all have to put the foundation in. And the foundation for all human beings is the skeletal structure. Now, if you tamper with the skeletal structure, you tamper with the foundation of a house, the house is going to fall. That means the human being is going to die. There is no way to do that. Okay? So what these things do, what these drugs do, just change the outward appearance. So for example, you're looking at my screen right now. This is a female bodybuilder. Now, some females will take hormones, testosterone or any other drugs to build muscle, because that's a requirement for building massive muscles. All right? You have to have enough testosterone in your body. So that's an example, and they take stuff, they take other drugs like, I mean, there's a slew of drugs being taken by bodybuilders, from human growth hormones, which increases the muscle mass and muscle size, and testosterone, which helps you build muscle, and there's a slew of hormones, estrogen and everything else. All these hormones are the same hormones or drugs that transgenders take. So for example, here we're showing you a female bodybuilder who's definitely taken drugs to be the way that she's looking right now. Now, whatsoever she's doing is not going to change the skeletal structure. It's not going to move her hip joints from where it is. It's always going to be below the crotch. Now, what happens is that the muscle mass might be stacked so much that the way the female hip, as you see the curvy shape, may not be there because there is so much muscle fiber on top of it. But it's not going to change the hip position. Alright? It's not going to change the hip position to make her male. Neither is it going to shorten her pubic arch. Alright? So I just wanted you guys to take notice of that, because I'm going to show you another picture. Alright? Now here is a female bodybuilder. As you can see right there, these females still have an arch in their back. Can you see that? Arch in the back. Now you may not see a lot of that hip protrusion from where it's supposed to be outside here on a female, because they have so much muscle, layers of muscle covering it up. But if she stands up properly, right, you will still see that the hip joints are still there. So when these guys try to give you facts and tell you lies to confuse you, because there's a lot of confused people, because there's a lady who actually was a sub on our channel, and then a few days ago she sent me an email saying that she's unsubscribed, that because I'm not listening to what she's saying, the fact that people can take, or children, or before they hit puberty, can take hormones, and that will change the skeletal structure, making them look feminine if they're male, and making them look male if you're female. And I told her that I don't have time for such fake science. I specifically called her and told her it's fake science. I'm not listening to it. Don't send me any more information. And she still sent it, but I'm not going to reveal her name, because as a gentleman's agreement, I promised that I wouldn't be talking about her name. But that's what she tried to do. But as you can see right here, there is no difference in the drugs that the bodybuilders take to the ones that the transgenders take. There's no difference. So here is a case. I'm picking up a female now who's taking so much drugs, all right, to build muscle mass, which is the same thing that a male. So I just took a curious case of female bodybuilders to show you what happens. All right, the males take the same thing, but instead of taking it in the opposite way, they just increase their own quotas as men to look more muscular. Does it make sense? So that's just what I wanted to show you guys before I move on back to Caroline Cozy. Now remember, Caroline Cozy is not under Transvistigation in any way, shape, or form. We just want to take her pictures and see if her skeletal structure has changed since she said that you know, I've just proven that the Klinefelters is actually fake signs. All right, as I've just shown you, to see if her Klinefelters and the hormones, the added hormones that she took, or he took, sorry to say, has made the skeletal structure to change to that of a woman, or if the skeletal structure still remains the same as the male that Caroline Cozy was born with. Okay, so let's go. Not under Transvistigation. He is not a liar. He's a truthful transgender. We are not saying he's a liar or anything negative. All right, so let's go. So we start off Caroline Cozy with a picture when Caroline Cozy was a man under the name of Barry. If you're looking at my screen right there, that's Caroline Cozy as a dude. Okay, as you can see, it still looks like a dude, but we have some more pictures just to go by, just to see what you think if Caroline Cozy is going to stand up to the test of that person suffering under Klinefelter's fake syndrome. All right, as I call it. Skeletal structure can be changed. The person is still the sex they claim, because if you remember at the start of the video when we explained what the Klinefelter syndrome was, you could actually see that it affects male. So the operative word there, it's male. It doesn't say the person changes to a female. It says the person is male. It's male, a man. All right, so let's go further. Picture now make you guys understand. Now this picture is photoshopped. All right. So when you're doing a transvestigation and you're trying to transvestigate somebody, always look for pictures that don't have plain backgrounds, because plain background means that the pixels have been played with, the picture is being toyed and played with. Okay, so this picture is photoshopped in the first place for it to look this good. Okay, because the background is plain. Another picture is standing something in like a tiled bathroom or the case. Now what we're looking at here is the hip. Now remember the video that we played earlier. Now the widest point in this hip, as you can see, is right here. That's where the Q angle of a man starts. And here is Caroline Cozy's crotch, right? See where this hip is at? That's where the hip joint is at. With a female, it will be much more lower down here below the crotch. So Caroline Cozy's hip joint is still above the crotch. The widest point right there, as you can see sticking out there, is still above the crotch, showing you that a person with Klinefelter syndrome, the fake Klinefelter syndrome disease they tell you, cannot change to a female. Okay, as you can see right there, the hip is sticking out there above the crotch, showing you where the male hip is at. Another picture, and here's Caroline Cozy again. As you can see, that's the crotch. Where's the widest point right there sticking out? Right here. See that? It's still above the crotch. That's the crotch down there. And the only reason why it looks like it's around there is because his legs are closed up, so it doesn't actually show you where the crotch actually ends. All right, but as you can see, this widest point right here, take a good look right here, right there, my mouse is pointing right there, is above this crotch, above the crotch, showing you that it's male. Even to this other point, the widest point is above the crotch. So Klinefelter disease syndrome cannot change a male to a female or make it have a skeletal structure of a woman. Another picture. Again here, right? So I'm gonna try to draw the line again so she can see a shape of a P like I was talking about. Drawing, you can see this is a P right here. Look at this. See, right? And this goes straight. That's the shape of a P, because a P is shaped like this, right? So the part of that man, right, is always going to be like this P here, and straight. And this is what Michaela Maroney has here, P-shaped back. And you can see the widest point in Michaela Maroney's butt right here, right? Draw a line right here, the widest point right there. Let me see if I can draw that again. widest point right here. See that? It's above the crotch because this is male. All right, some more pictures. I've drawn stuff all over the place, but you can still see. All right, a straight torso, still shaped like a P, a small P right there. I'm not gonna draw anymore. All right, if Poco can see that. All right, see the wide neck here. Don't let the smile fool you or the face. You're looking at a dude. Okay, some more pictures again. All right, Michaela Maroney again, and look at that. Where's the widest point? Where is the Q angle of this supposed female starting? Look at that. Where is it? It's right there. Above the crotch. Look, it's right up there. Above the crotch. Not below it. See that? That's right there. Follow this line right here. See that? That's where the Q angle starts. See that? With a female, will start right here. And the long arms. This is a dude. Ain't no female. Some more pictures. Winston Duke again. We just wanted to show you the reasons of what we're trying to show you in the length of the arms. When a black man, all right, holds his arms in front like Charles Bozeman is doing right here, the arms are going to flow all the way down and are going to be below his crotch. When a female holds her arms in front of her, it's going to be above the crotch because the female has shorter arms, the man has longer arms. And I want you to notice the difference that Chad Boseman's arms is almost, if not almost as long as the man over here. Which shouldn't be the case because he's the taller man. This is the shorter man. His arms right here shouldn't be as long as his because that's almost the same length. And look at the way he places his arms rest. It's going to be below his crotch, right above where his scrotum is when he puts his hands in front. And for a female, it's going to be above when she puts her hand, because the shorter arms is going to rest above the pubic region. So I want you guys to notice the difference.
So you're seeing a 3D computer model of a human body, realized in physical form. Everyone you see in the media, that's what they are. You're looking at 3D computer models made up of living cells. It's not too different from character creation in a video game. You choose a base model and then adjust the individual features to create a more unique appearance. But no matter how much you change the features, you find that characters based on the same model all tend to look similar. The eyes, nose, and mouth may be different, but the overall shapes and proportions of their faces are the same. That's why there are so many lookalikes in the population. That's true even among celebrities and politicians, who are chosen for their more unique appearances. Now I'm going to show you examples of these lookalikes from the celebrity population. Hilary Swank on the left and Missy Peregrine on the right. When I read names, it'll always be left to right. They have the same overall facial structure and proportions. The only differences are their eyes and the ends of their noses, and Hilary has a taller forehead due to the hairline being higher. Their eyes may actually be the same. It's just that Hilary has folds over her upper eyelids, which changes the outer shape. They also have the same eyebrows and hair shape and type. Remember that their hair is skin cells formed into fibers, so the shape, length, style, and color is determined by the imitation code as well. Michael J. Fox and Scott Wolf. Fox and Wolf. Get it? Same overall facial structure and proportions, same mouth and basically the same eyes, and they have the same hair shape as well. The only significant difference is the end of the nose. The bridges are actually fairly similar. Jennifer Carpenter and Hope Solo. Same overall facial structure and proportions, same nose and mouth, and similar eyes. And they both have epicanthic folds over the inner corners, which are common to Asian races like Chinese and Japanese, but very rare among whites. They also have the same eyebrows and hair shape. Other than eye, hair, and skin color, the only notable difference is that Jennifer's nose is shorter, which makes her upper lip area taller. Lucy Hale and Selena Gomez. Same overall facial structure and proportions. Their eyes and the ends of their noses are different, but the rest is pretty much the same, including the hair shape. They have the same base imitation code, but they changed some of the features to make one look white and the other Hispanic. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Javier Bardem. Same overall facial structure and proportions, similar eyes and mouths. They even have the same eyebrows and facial hair. The ends of their noses are the most notable difference. Anna Greichwitz and Maggie Gyllenhaal. Same overall facial structure and proportions. Same mouth, similar noses, and slightly different eyes. And again, same hair shape and type. Ian Somerhalder and Rob Lowe. Same base imitation code with similar features. Mouth, nose, and the eyes are almost identical. Heather Graham and Jayma Mays. Everything is practically the same except for their noses. They also have the same eyebrows and hair shape. Amanda Seyfried and Dakota Fanning. Same base imitation code and similar features, but there are differences which keep them from looking identical. Amanda's lips are bigger, her nostrils are more upturned, and her eyes are farther apart. If you just changed those things, they'd look exactly alike. And once again, they have the same eyebrows and hair shape. Evan Rachel Wood and Alexandra Breckenridge. Their noses and eyes are somewhat different, but everything else is the same, including the eyebrows and hair shape. Kareena Kapoor and Paris Hilton. Here's another cross-racial imitation code. Except for their eyes, the rest of their features are very similar. Kareena's nostrils slant up more, but that's really the only other difference. With their eyes covered, it looks like it could be the same person with a tan and changed in hair color and style. Dustin Hoffman and Francois Cluzet. The ends of their noses are completely different, but other than that, they're very close. Judy Greer and Anne Heche. Same base imitation code, but their eyes and noses are different. Khloe Kardashian and Joni Laurer, China. Another Indian and white cross-racial code. Of course, they're really the same race, both Dracs, but that's the appearance that humans see. It's alien cells generating shape, texture, and color. It has absolutely nothing to do with human genetics. Helena Christensen and Cameron Diaz. Except for their noses, they're quite close. It's definitely the same base imitation code. You can also see that Helena's reverting the creases in her neck. Nina Dobrev and Jenny Farley. Slightly different eyes, noses, and mouths, but they have the exact same facial proportions. They also have the same hair type and hairline. BJ Novak and Juan Martín del Potro. Their hairlines are different, and BJ's eyes slant down to the outside, but if those were changed, their faces would be almost identical. Renee Zellweger and Joey Lauren Adams. Renee keeps altering her facial code so she doesn't look like this anymore. But at the time this photo was taken, her code was very close to Joey's. If the hoods over Renee's upper eyelids were removed, their eyes would probably look the same. Brad Pitt and Benicio del Toro. Again, if the hoods were removed from Benicio's upper eyelids, their eyes would probably look the same. Other than that, the ends of their noses are somewhat different, and Brad has a bigger lower lip. Those are the only notable differences. Caroline Forrest and Matt Bellamy. Sometimes they use the same base imitation code for male and female imitations. To adapt it to a female imitation, they typically make the eyes larger and the nose and jaw smaller. That's exactly what they've done to create Caroline's face from Matt's face. Other than that, the only difference is that Matt has that projected bulbous septum. Kathy Griffin and Martin Short. Kathy's jaw is smaller, and her eyes are a bit larger than Martin's, but apart from that, they didn't change much, and their noses are almost identical. That's why Kathy looks like a man in drag, because she's using a male imitation code with weak adaptation. R.J. Mitt and Kendall Jenner. This appears to be the opposite case. A female imitation code adapted to a male imitation. His nose and jaw are larger, and his lips are smaller, but the facial proportions are very close, and they have the exact same eyes, which are obviously meant to be female eyes. Todd Rundgren and Liv Tyler. This is more of an androgynous code, which works decently for either sex. Liv has bigger eyes and a smaller nose, but their faces are basically the same below the nose. Billy Corgan and Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten's nose and jaw are slightly smaller, but everything else matches. The shapes of the features are exactly the same: eyes, nose, and mouth. They have the same crooked teeth as well, which you don't see here. This code appears to be originally intended for a male imitation, but it adapts decently to a female imitation. Now we're looking at historical lookalikes. That's imitation codes that were used in the past that are being used in the present. This is Tommy Lee Jones and Andrew Johnson. They have the same overall facial structure and proportions, and the features are quite similar, with the biggest difference being the nose. Tommy slopes inward at the midpoint, whereas Andrew's is straight all the way down. They have the same folds over their upper eyelids and the same kind of elongated ears. Their hair shapes and hairlines also match. Abraham Lincoln and Bill Nye. Same overall facial structure and proportions. The end of Bill's nose is more pointed and down-slanted than Abe's, and his eyes are smaller, but otherwise it's a close match. And they have some specific features in common: the creases on the cheeks behind the mouth, the protruding cheekbones, and the sunken temples with rough skin texture. They also have the same type of neck. If you could see the rest of their bodies, they would probably look very similar as well. Ellen DeGeneres and Henry David Thoreau. This is another androgynous imitation code, probably better suited to female imitations. It's a close match. The biggest difference is the end of the nose, which is more bulbous on Henry. Notice that they have the same groove running down from the corner of their mouths. That confirms that it's the same imitation code. And once again, they also have the same hair shape, spiked and swept. Jason Segel and Lee J. Cobb. Lee has bigger eyes, but apart from that, it's hard to find things that are different about them. They even have the same bulged out bone on the sides of their foreheads. That's a rather unusual feature, and along with everything else that matches, it's absolute proof that it's the same imitation code. Eddie Murphy and an unknown man from the 1890s. These two are also very close, clearly the same imitation code. The man on the right has more upturned nostrils, and his ears are smaller. Those are the only differences that I can see. They even have the same eyebrows and mustache.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me either the first time I saw your face on another guy. Genetic dice? No, I don't think so. I think somebody just screwed up. As good as you are, you do make mistakes, don't you? You should have broke the mold, Gordy.